I hear there's some brothers around there that are a little frisky, you know. Or at least that's what my friend says in Durham.
Well, I'm not
He works at
what happens after that stays.
His last one, he's getting too big. He's going to have to start putting his weight.
You've been going since you were a little guy, huh? Me too. Reminds of my first cruise.
Yeah, playing the same music. Same music as the first cruise.
I'm going to invite her to the house. I'm going to make dinner for her.
You cooking.
Huh?
Yo, I didn't know you cooked, you know.
Got my father's genes, right?
Right, yeah. Do you make meat patties?
No, not yet.
If Samantha starts cooking, she'll be able to do it because she just watched her mother all the time.
All the time. She was right there. Yeah.
You're going to break that down, right? Who's going to break that down?
Can you go backwards up a hill?
Yeah, trust me. Him, please. Still it. Excuse me. You better be careful, so you're going to run into something. It's an accident.
Yeah, film all that now.
Yeah, Navi. Was the nurses? Yeah. Where? I only know 2 of them. Molette and her sister. Molette.
Gladys has over she's getting over 70.
In therapy, right now I'm concentrating on moving my pelvis forward. That makes the leg work more
Group number
efficient.
8 and 9.
Where you don't have to.
I saw her. He's just like Jack. Jack lived with us 6 months. Oh, I'm telling you.
How's that, right? Wow. Hey, get it.
Don't ruin you.
Yeah, I don't want you on that.
Did you what?
Did you what?
It's okay. No.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, of course, yeah. Why is that?
And here we just pass this souvenir shop in the harbor, so when you return back, of course, here you find the shopping possibilities. In case you don't want to stay in town, of course you can do that and then take a shuttle bus back to the pier. And you just have to remember to be back in good time. This quite nice area here. On the left hand side, of course, dock area, and on the right hand side new apartment buildings, and a lot of changes are going on here on this part of Helsinki. Helsinki is built on a peninsula, so we have sea all the time around us, very many bays and bridges, and it was the Swedish king Gustavus Vasa that wanted to have here a trade town, and the year was 1550. Finland was just the eastern part of Sweden during 650 years, so everything here was the same. language, religion, form of government, everything was the same. And that Swedish period ended after a Swedish-Russian war in 1808. Now when you are heading to St. Petersburg, you perhaps know already that Peter the Great started with St. Petersburg in 1703. Union Embassy, and now again of course the Russian Embassy, but the symbols are still there. Our Catholic Church here on the right hand side, we are going to make a round here, so we return back to this same corner later on. One of our historical trams here, so you can have a round also. It costs you €5 to have a round trip using this historical tram, starting from the open air market we are going to see later on. So in case you decide to stay in town, that is also one of the possibilities. Here on the left, when we turn to the right, on the left hand side, you can see one of our ferries, this white Silja line that arrives now from Stockholm. So we have 2 ferries every day from Helsinki to Stockholm and vice versa as well. And many lorries, cars, passengers, about 2,000, and every day of the year. On the other side of this bay there is a red-white Viking Line ferry, and that is also heading to Stockholm. So it is that the smaller one, Mariella, that express is heading to Tallinn twice a day, Viking Express, and twice a day to Tallinn, the capital of Estonia. Several catamarans, several ships daily to Estonia, so I think about 6 or 7 every day to that capital, or just about 70 kilometers on the other side of Gulf of Finland. Now on the left hand side you can see a group of islands, and there is a church tower as well, and that group of islands is called Fortress Suomenlinna. The construction of this fortress started in 1748, so during the Swedish period, and the only idea was to protect Sweden from the attacks of Russia. All those grey walls there on those different islands, they were built during the Swedish period, and in 1808, when the Russians took over, they started to take sand from the sea bottom and forming those walls that you can see now as green walls, and they are heading to west. And then the only idea was to protect Russia, St. Petersburg, this autonomous Grand Duchy, from the attacks of the west. 1,000 Helsinki citizens live there on those islands, and it is on the list of UNESCO's World Heritage. Kindergarten, elementary school, library, many restaurants, museums, and the only way to their homes is a ferry from the open air market all year round. It takes about 15 minutes. Now in August.
That's quite close to the shore.
Yeah.
Here we have some program going on, and this is just a, let's say, a Finnish type of laundry. You can see that there is a couple, there are 2 men now washing their rag racks, their carpets. They have buckets on these tables there. They take the water directly from the sea, the rag racks in tribes, and they are using a brush washing this. And the reason why we can use the seawater for this traditional rag rack carpets washing is the salt percent, when it is just half. So cross water here in Gulf of Finland, Gulf of Bothnia, and we have tables like this floating all around Helsinki, on the lakes, on the dry land, built when you have then a running water. There is a big mango, and they put these wet carpets, you can see now them better, not very colorful and nice looking, through that big mango, and then perhaps they have coffee in the thermos. They stay here, and when the rag racks, the carpets are dry, they can take them with them back to their homes. And when you saw there two men, that is very often the question of honor to be there when you are a man, Mr. the head of the family. So at least helping, because the raglets are very heavy when they are wet. Because of the salt percent, all these private boats, yachts, sailing boats, motorboats, they must be lifted up from the sea in September. They are put back again in May. If you leave your boat here, in springtime you have no boat, because the ice crushes it. We have no tide here, so the level of the sea is almost always the same. Of course, during the storms you have to take care of so that your boat is tightly fastened there. But because of the ice, because of the crosswater, all the sea around Finland, so Gulf of Finland, Gulf of Bothnia, is frozen. And also all those nearly 200,000 lakes that we have in our country are frozen. Finland is the only country in the world where all the sea around it is frozen. Of course, everything depends on the winter. 1917, then Finland started its life as an independent republic. So during the Russian Revolution, and Finland has been independent republic since that. So that is our history in a nutshell. 650 years as a part of Sweden, 110 years as a part of Russia, and then since 1917 independent republic. But mainly they are in the northern parts of Finland. These are built strong enough that they can sail through the ice. Now on the right hand side you can see the biggest Orthodox church in Western Europe. That red brick church with golden cupolas.
Right here.
And
it's either the pride or the legend.
The tradition in Finland in Orthodox church is the same than in Russia. The language is Finnish.
The pride or the legend.
And Finnish Orthodoxes are members in Patriarchacy of Constantinople
that we were on last
instead of Patriarchacy in Moscow. So these two differences, language and
that's the pride. That's what we were on.
And after the Russian Revolution, of course, they wanted to have something different, not anymore be together with Soviet Union, and they decided to do these changes. Here we have a smaller cruise liner.
See the cabin? See the two grates on the top deck? The cabin just folded. That was when we were in.
And also on the right hand side is our old market hall, this yellow red brick building, but now because it's Sundays it's closed. But this is a place for meat, dairy products, bread, cheese. And now we arrive to that open air market area. Here start many ferries to the fortress Suomenlinna Island. You can have sightseeing tours with lunch or without. And this open air market, now here on the left hand side is Esplanade Park area. And when this Esplanade Park area ends, there is the shuttle bus stop, so on the left hand side. Here is going to be a promotion today for rally. So the world champion green peas, and that is a summer snack in Finland. We eat peas raw. They are very sweet and tasty. And now it's the time for our wild blueberries as well, and yellow chanterelles, those wild mushrooms, and all those you can see on here on this open air market. Fur, you can also buy here mink, fox, rabbit, baskets, handicrafts, all different kinds of things. T-shirts, whatever you find here, very typical Finnish things. And this is a place where you can also use different kinds of currencies. And here is the ferry to that fortress Suomenlinna Island, that small white one. So from here, part of local transportation, 15 minutes all year round. And this a bit nicer looking ferry here, this old-fashioned, is heading to our zoo island. Here on the left is our presidential palace here as well, and our main guard. So the presidential palace was the palace for the Russian imperial family when they visited this capital of their autonomous Grand Duchy. So they stayed there. It has been our presidential palace since 1917. Here on the hill, that Uspensky Cathedral, and the cupolas, when they are in the forms of flame, we call them onions. Flame is a symbol in Orthodox religion. The ships that are yellow and black and blue and lighter blue, they are the icebreakers. We have 9 of them all together, and now there are just 5 here in Helsinki. This is the base, and they start from here October, November. First they sail towards the north and help the ships in the northern parts, and then during the winter they are heading also more to the south. And the bottom of one icebreaker, that is in the form of an egg and round, and the engines are extremely strong, and these icebreakers, they can turn around their own axle 360 degrees. So they can reverse on the ice, they can climb on the ice, break it, make the route clear for the ships to follow. And the ice can of course be 1 meter, 1.5 meter thick. And the ships that sail to Finland from all over the world, bringing the coffee beans, oil, or different kinds of materials, spices, they are not built strong enough to sail through that ice, and these icebreakers are needed that make the route clear for the ships to follow. These farmers and merchants, aristocrats, had a house of their own. And when Alexander I wanted to have here this square, then in 1863 Alexander II arrived to Helsinki, because all this was ready built, that Lutheran Cathedral, and on the left hand side, that yellow building is the main building of Helsinki University. Behind the bell chapel on the left hand side, so that smaller building on the left, is University Library. And this is what Alexander I wanted to have. He called an architect, Carl Ludwig Engel, to design these buildings here, to design this square, so that the Russian Tsar, Grand Duke of Finland, has something that is great enough for him and this capital of this autonomous Grand Duchy. So university building on the left, on the hill, University Library, our Lutheran Cathedral, and Council of the States Palace on the right hand side. The statue here in the center is for Alex.
I missed she was saying the Princess Palace. Yeah, I missed the Princess Palace because she had a seizure about Bourne. Come on, really? That part of our life's over.
Oh, thank you.
Dad,
What?
put that part in. Put that part in your slideshow.
What's that?
The part where
Right?
I talked about seizures. Come on, really? You yelled out, oh, yeah, Seaboard, yeah! Look, we're on a Royal Caribbean now. Forget that.
Get a life, huh?
Yeah. Why are you filming us? Wanna go up there and see that church? And some. Send him to school for free over here. Okay, I'm going up too. Let me go up. Yeah. This guy doesn't want to go all the way up to the top of the steps. Why? You feel like Rocky. You do.
No. Are you recording right now?
Yes.
Don't waste one. Don't
Why?
waste
It's not wasting. It's taking a picture of you. We never have any pictures of you.
Alexander?
I don't know.
The one that got murdered?
I don't know.
That's what she said. Nice clean place though. This hole was clean, right?
Yeah.
Look, man, you feel like Rocky when you go all the way up there. It's awesome. All you gotta do is just flail your arms up in the air. Act like no one's watching.
The university church and the government. Not the bus.
Huh?
That's the university.
Yeah, right.
That's our tour bus in the yellow. Dad with his cane.
You got it?
How does it feel to go up to the top?
Oh, I felt like restored.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
It was a whole Rocky
Oh my
adventure.
God. Oh my God, that's amazing. Feel like Rocky, don't you? Yeah, all the way up top there.
Yes.
Feel like Rocky. Plus we went up there, it's awesome.
Have them take a picture of me and you. Brandy, take a picture of me and Sterling.
Okay.
I took a picture of y'all.
There's a bird on top of Alexander's head. That is not right.
Don't sit on your bed.
Yeah. Not right.
Hey. Helsinki style.
Got it? Okay.
Take two.
Islamic, you don't pay any church tax. Only Lutherans and Orthodoxies pay. And 80% of Finns are Lutherans. So really a main religion here in this country. Here on the right hand side is our university garden. So next to the university as well. And the gates are open from 9 a.m. till 9 p.m. And the National Theatre. The big red granite building on the right hand side as well is the railway station. And architect is Eliel Saarinen. It was built in the beginning of 20th century. During the First World War, it was used as a hospital for the Russian soldiers. And it has been the Finnish National Gallery, National Theatre, railway station. Here in winter time we have ice skating on the right hand side. And the four men that are holding the lanterns here, they are the unofficial symbols for Helsinki. And Eliel Saarinen, the architect that later on moved to the States when he had designed this building. His son Eero Saarinen was also an architect. And this is one of the first buildings that is already quite modern looking, but still you can see there flowers and ornaments.
Hast du Papa gesagt, dass du schon raus bist?
Ja.
Lass mal da hinten hier den Verkehr noch Tschüss.
Han tror sig det.
already when the children are on the third grade, so about 9 years old, they start to study that first foreign language. And that first foreign language schools, the children start to study Swedish, and in Swedish schools the children start to study Finnish. Now once more this School of Economics and Administration for the Finnish-speaking students. And then when the children continue after that elementary school, they can continue to vocational school or to gymnasium or high school. We call it gymnasium lukio as in Sweden and Germany, and those are both 3 years. And so they can also choose studying a profession just by working, so that then of course takes a bit longer time and as a scholarship. So Finnish children learn at least 2 foreign languages. Very often they learn 3 or 4 even. And if you want to study to be, let's say, a doctor or a lawyer, then it is wise also to continue the studies in high school and perhaps even at the university, because if you want to start working in some governmental office or university clinic, before you can start working you have to pass a small language test in that second official language, so that it's made sure that you can serve the clients using their own mother tongue. On private branch, not of course not, but always in governmental, municipal, university, then you have to pass that test. So the Swedish-speaking Finns must pass that test in Finnish. Not cross-country skiing, but roller skating and having those poles. So very popular nowadays. And Jean Sibelius was one of the first students that could start thinking about Finnish, Finland, the tradition. And when he composed Finlandia hymn, the year was 1896. So Finland wasn't independent. And the words in this Finlandia hymn tell a story about Finland that is having a very long and depressing night. But don't be afraid, Finland, you are going to see a new bright morning. Symbolic words telling about Finland being still under the Russian rule, but perhaps there are hopes, there are wishes, there are dreams, and we are going to be independent someday. And when Jean Sibelius passed away, the year was 1952. So he was over 90 years old when he passed away. So he had really seen the independence, that the national romantic period was very strong and the ideas grew and grew and grew. And when he passed away, of course the society wanted to have a statue, a monument for this great cultural person. And so Mrs. Eila Hiltunen, the artist, designed this monument that is made out of stainless steel. Can't you do something else? And so she added a separate portrait on a cliff nearby. There's the head of Jean Sibelius when he was a young person, a young man, and that you can see there on this separate cliff next to this monument that was ready in 1967. Rock Church that we visited was ready built in 1969. So very important period in Finnish modern art, architecture. And okay, now perhaps Jaakko is now moving a bit forward still, so it is better for us. And let's see. So 10 minutes to 1 we start from here. 10 minutes to 1. This bay here is one of the scenes for Summer Olympics we had in 1952. So the rowing competitions were here. Here on the left hand side you can see a white bridge taking people to that island, open air museum island. There behind this white bridge you can see some higher buildings, and there is our technical university and also the headquarters for Nokia cell phones, for Kone elevator company, for Neste Oil, our big oil company, oil refinery in Finland, Fortum, one of our governmental offices, and also Huhtamäki, that is for the paper cups, mugs, plates, recycled materials. And our technical university is just located next to the big headquarters. So now you heard the word Nokia, the magic word Nokia, and of course when Nokia is a Finnish company, that is the base for our nowadays standard of living, the economics in Finland. When in 1990s Nokia became a worldwide cell phone company, spread all over, it is still here and a big taxpayer, big company in Finland. In Helsinki, and that is from 1990s. And nowadays when apartment buildings are built, very often they have already a sauna. You know that sauna, S-A-U-N-A, sauna, sauna pronounced in Finnish, that is heated, traditionally using wood, but nowadays of course electricity as well. And the temperatures in saunas are about plus 80, plus 100 degrees. Almost every apartment nowadays has a sauna of its own. On the countryside, of course, was murdered. He had the idea that the people in his empire must have the place of their own religion. So also to Helsinki, Catholic Church, Orthodox Church, Lutheran churches were built, a synagogue. See the blocks that are just built along the street, and just the next block, already totally different idea. And this is very typical then in Finland after the Second World War, a lot of space everywhere around. But these buildings that were built next to the street, that is already Mannerheim Street. If you think about the homes here, I think everybody thinks that those that have a place around, space around, are much more nicer, not so dark. I-U, O-I, very many combinations. And then also hard double sounds like Jaakko, double K, double T. And the Finnish language is related to Hungarian and Estonian languages. So it has nothing to do with Swedish, nothing to do with the Russian languages. And when the Finnish origin tribes, they started to move around, they started from the Ural Mountains about 6,000 years ago. And the architects, you can see a bear sitting there in front. So that is the national romantic period, motifs, symbols from our nature, telling the story about unicameral parliament since 1906. So Finland became independent 1917, and 1906 Finland gained unicameral parliament. Finnish women gained full political rights during that Russian period. That's quite astonishing. But anyhow, that happened, and we have 200 members in our parliament, and we have Democrats and Social Democrats and Conservatives. Prime Minister is from the biggest party always, and that is now the Conservatives. The election for the President is every 6th year, and our President, Mrs. Tarja Halonen, was elected in 2000 and re-elected in 2006. And 2012, so next year she is going to retire, so 2 periods is the maximum one president can have. Always every 18-year-old person has the right to vote. So when we are now here on this Mannerheimintie, and if you want to stay in town, we are now driving quite near that shuttle bus stop, so I will show it to you. So if you want to stay in town, and Just on the left hand side, when we have the stop starts that Esplanade Park area where the promotion for the rally starts, and just following that promotion you come to the open air market, and then if you want to walk back to the shuttle bus, it is just where the promotion area ends. And the last shuttle leaves 5 o'clock. You can also walk to town, not walk to town, but walk to the pier, and it takes about let's say half an hour. It is about 2 kilometers from the city center. Now we are on a street that is called Boulevard, and when we have in Helsinki Esplanade, we have Boulevard. That is of course a bit continental. The street names sound continental, and that is also how the Russian Tsars, the Grand Dukes of Finland, wanted to have. Here on the right hand side is a nice park area, that is old cemetery and park area nowadays, and there is a wooden church that is designed by the same architect that designed all the buildings around that Senate Square, those new classical buildings we saw there, and he designed this as well. It is a wooden church, and still here in spite of fires, war. And this boulevard is let's say one of the best addresses of course in Helsinki. And when I told you about the winter and the winter tires that the cars must use, winter is not a problem in Finland, in Helsinki, for the traffic. So the streets are always cleaned. If we have snowstorms, of course there is always some snow and ice. The worst periods for the trams is autumn, when these leaves are wet, they fall down and they are mashed into the rails. So then a small hill can be too much for the trams, and they must be helped to continue. In Helsinki the local traffic is very, let's say, efficient, and we pay 2.20 for a single ticket that is valid 70 minutes. And of course a person that lives here has a ticket for the whole month or even the whole year. But you can buy that ticket from the driver, and you can also buy a ticket that is valid for the whole day. So then you can travel as much you want, use trams, buses, metros, even the ferry to Fortress Suomenlinna, because that is also part of the local municipal traffic company. And according to the laws, every third tram, bus, local train must be easy accessible, and that is marked on the timetable on the bus and tram station, so you can check that. Okay, if you need easy accessible tram or bus, then you know that okay, I wait some extra minutes. If there are mothers with the babies, wheelchairs, and that is according to the law in Finland nowadays. When we continue, here on the right hand side is a nice small theater that is called Alexander's Theater, and it is a theater that was built for the Russian garrison in 1860s, and it was used of course by the Russians, but now it is a theater for special groups, dancing groups, musical theater groups from all over the world, so mainly for visiting theater groups. Yeah. And this was the entrance for the Tsar, the main entrance here on the right hand side. So of course he had always special entrances in those buildings that were built for him or during his period. Here on the left hand side is a yellow building that is nowadays a museum, Sinebrikov Art Museum, and next to that you can see red brick walls. Sinebrikov family started the first brewery in Finland. In 1819 they arrived from St. Petersburg and started the brewery here on the left hand side. And now here on the right hand side, that is a market, a special market, that is a flea market. So no fresh vegetables, no berries, only recycling clothes, books, LPs, CDs, glass, ceramics. And people come here 8 o'clock in the morning after a big cleanup they have made in their homes, and market hall is for antiques and arts. And in wintertime, of course, our flea market is inside an old factory building that is not anymore in use. And those are quite nice places to visit. Here you can see on the left hand side that quite new apartment buildings, and all the balconies have windows around. And that is of course the climate. So in winter time you can also have your morning coffee there. You close the windows, you can have Christmas decorations, candles burning there, and it is kind of an extra room. And many old buildings also are now adding those windows around so that you can really enjoy that extra room. Here on the left hand side is a statue that is for Nokia cable factory. A man is holding the globe with the help of the cable, so it was considered to be so important. Nokia cable factory was in this red brick building here on the left hand side, that the whole globe was held. No ideas about the cell phones those days. But it is still nowadays very important for Finnish economics. And of course paper and wood industry. 68% of Finland is still nowadays forest. We have shipbuilding, metal industry, many cruise liners for your company, this Royal Caribbean, the big ones especially, the allure of the seas, independence of the seas, freedom of the seas. They are built in Finland on the west coast in Turku. Once they sail away through the strait between Sweden and Denmark, waiting for the proper tide, they can't sail anymore to the Baltic. They are too big. So metal, shipbuilding, gold mining in Lapland, malm, iron, high technology, not only Nokia cell phones. One of our companies is called Vaisala, and the person, engineer Vaisala, he invented the way to measure the atmosphere conditions. So every time they send something to the space, there's a label made in Finland. So a lot of high technology, and our government decided in 1990s when the Soviet Union collapsed, and Nokia was started already with the cell phones, that now we have to concentrate on something that we know. We are very far in the north, we are a small nation here, we can't compete with the mass, we have to do something we know. And then our government decided to concentrate on high technology, IT branch. Many companies started together with Nokia. And now one of the most famous games is called Angry Birds. And that is also a Finnish game. So the boys were working in a garage, of course, as they did, and now it is a very, very important company. Max Payne was also a bit earlier game that was also Finnish. So a lot of special know-how we have here, and our technical university is of a very high standard and quality. So that dock area that is now here on the right hand side is nowadays part of Korean STX Europe company. It was also Norwegian Ake Yards. Before that it was Finnish Valmet and Wärtsilä, and about 60% of the icebreakers in the whole world, they are built in Helsinki. Now Helsinki is quite a small dock, and just some renovation work is done here. Perhaps some older ferries sail to Helsinki, and new cabins, electricity is added, and then this ferry has some more years to sail around. Here on the left hand side we had Open Europeans in sailing. Now in the beginning of July, so competitions, and they had some problems with the winds. So it was very nice and warm period, and of course when it is nice and warm it is not so windy. And the sailors of course wish for a good wind so that they can really compete. A lot of special things in Finland, and of course let's say the most important and special thing is the language that gave us the feeling, the national feeling, and then slowly also our independence. And why during the Russian Revolution Finland became independent, nobody knows really. There is not only one answer to that. Perhaps one of the reasons was that when Finland was then protecting our border, the revolutionary leaders had a lot of problems, of course, all around that empire, and so we of course have been protecting the eastern border. Stayed independent always, even had some difficult times in the long war period here as well, but all the time independent. Finnish people enjoy a lot of outdoor life, especially in the summertime, but also in wintertime, cross-country skiing and ski jumping, slalom, snow skating, snowboarding, and in these new games we have also many world champions and Olympic champions. And when we have the short daylight period here in wintertime, you know that in Lapland, on the other side of Arctic Circle, they have a period in summertime without any sunsets. We have a long daylight period here in the south. In Lapland, they have a 6-7 weeks period without any sunsets at all. And in wintertime, when we have short daylight period here in the southern weeks, they have more snow always, so the snow reflects the light, and in Lapland they can also see the northern lights. So when the four colors, yellow, red, green and blue, are dancing on the sky. And that is of course a period that is worth visiting, Finland in winter time, but we were now quite lucky to have no rain. Here the clouds are all the time following us, so perhaps you are going to have some storm, some rain on your way. Hopefully not too much, so that you can sail safely. So, kiitos!
Kiitos.
Thank you.
So on a ride.
You're nice, you might lecture.
There are Russian hats.
Huh?
There are Russian hats over there.
Oh yeah?
So we can get them.
Deck 8.